Hello and welcome, I'm Tafara Gadam. It's time to look into the practical returns the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam is supposed to bring. As part of the long list, of course, the healthcare system surely comes to mind. And my guest today, Dawit Moges, as an entrepreneur, manages a number of firms and institutions that have a direct impact on the healthcare system in Ethiopia. He's also involved in the dam support group. A very warm welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me here, Tafara.
Yeah, you've started this morning the East African Healthcare Federation, right?
Yes, just
this conference, right? Yes, this is the 9th conference, right?
That's right, sir. Yes, it is.
And it's done virtually, right?
For the first time, virtually, in fact, thanks to COVID. This is what COVID brought us to now.
Yeah. So what you're doing now is you have organized this conference under the theme, what is it? Accelerating healthcare breakthroughs by promoting innovation and technology. Quite an interesting catchword.
Yes, Tafara. In fact, we're trying to get things channeled and streamlined through technology to improve the healthcare service in Africa. So that is what we are trying to do now and accomplish. So the theme is now marrying the technological progress and the mitigation of COVID in one line to bring some useful impact to the health sector. This is what we're doing today, this morning.
So how critical is this theme as you go forward?
Very critical, because as you know, the lockdown, the transportation problems, and even with the new Delta variant coming to Africa, it is very difficult to cope up things like we used to do. So everything has to be digitalized now. Informations have to be passing from one institution to another digitally. The paperwork has to be abolished, one thing. The second thing is information has to go from one point of the country to another point of country within seconds. So to alert physicians, to alert policymakers, and so on and so forth. So this is very vital now for mitigating COVID-19.
So how many countries are participating at this conference now?
7 member countries, and some are from guest partners from Europe, North America, and multinational corporations are also involved. But mainly the membership is reserved for East African nations.
So I understand that you're talking about the experiences in this regard. So how many of them are deep into this technology?
I can say most of us are deep into this technology, because as you know, there are so many platforms coming up indigenously done for East Africa and Africa in general. So we are encouraging each other and sharing experience. And this morning, what we heard is that there are so many companies coming up to assist the health sector through IT and everything. Especially this morning, we were having the reports from Kenyan Healthcare Federation, and they have gone very far in that regard, both in accessing the service as well as helping the financial sector to ease the way transaction is being done between health facilities, suppliers, and customers.
So you manage, I understand you manage a hospital. You manage,
yes, sir.
You manage a number of private companies that are heavily invested in the healthcare system or infrastructure in this country. So where do you stand today? Are you effectively into it? What are the challenges that you face? Because this is one of the things that you're going to share with your partners, with your colleagues from across the sub-region, correct?
That's right, that's right. You see, Tafara, we built a hospital in memory of our late mother, Sister Ecclesia. and we call the hospital Sister Agnes Memorial Hospital. And then it is situated in Adama city, in Oromia region. In fact, it is the first private hospital in the whole Oromia region. Now, because we're situated in Adama, getting oxygen for our patients was very, very challenging, because we have to come to Addis and then get it filled and then transported back to the hospital. Okay, so this problem led us to have an oxygen and nitrogen manufacturing plant there in Adama. And now, when COVID came, you see, it has been a very important company in both ways. The hospital is maintaining people with COVID symptoms and so on, while the oxygen plant that was meant to supply our hospital has been serving the whole southern part of Ethiopia, as well as major hospitals in Addis Ababa. So this is how critical it was for us, and how we, rendered our service to the public in general.
You mentioned the Kenyans are doing very well in this regard in the technology part the technology part of the story. So where do you put yourself here?
So the advantage is this, you see, the Kenyans, they are way ahead of us when it comes to IT. They have started like financial transaction is all digitalized through M-Pesa and Safaricom and so on and so forth. So they started this maybe 10 years ago, if I'm not mistaken. So because of that facility infrastructure, it was very easy for them to adopt the mitigation of COVID into the IT platform. It was just like plug and play for them. When you come to Ethiopia,
it's not an easy feat.
Most of the transactions are still done on cash basis. We're just being introduced to the digital financial transaction world. Now, when you come to the health sector, we're still lagging behind. But thanks to God, now everything is being changed. We're learning from the Kenyans, from the Tanzanians, and even from the Ugandans. So we are going into digitalizing the healthcare. In fact, the other week, last week of August, we had people coming from the Dubai Chamber of Commerce who were trying to invest here in Ethiopia in digitalizing our transaction in healthcare. And it was a very good one, that one too. So we are now into going to the right direction, but maybe I'll say at a slower pace.
When you say slower, it's going to be a long way to destination. Is that what you're saying?
No, the infrastructure is dependent on so many other attributes. One is like the power supply, as you know. The second thing is the telecommunication system is not widely spread out in Ethiopia. Most countries in East Africa are within the population of 50 million or so. And if you go to Rwanda, Burundi, and so on, they are 10 million or less. Come to Djibouti, it is much lower. So supplying those small population with infrastructure is much easier than equipping Ethiopians with that kind of facility. The investment is larger, plus getting things to your doorstep will take so many processes. Plus, as you know, the power supply interruption and so on is giving us a big challenge. Otherwise, we'll be there soon, I believe.
Okay, so let's talk about power. I know that you're involved in supporting as one of the business people involved in a project that recently has been unveiled. I know that you are into it. So let's talk about power. I understand the seriousness of the problem, because as you can see, we have power interruptions every single minute, in some cases, 4 days on end, and so on and so forth. And I know what this means to hospitals, clinics across the country, right? You just cannot plug into a generator or some other power supply, that easily. I know how serious it is, but can you, as someone who manages a health institution, as someone who has been closely watching the whole power supply thing in this country and eventually get involved the way you are now with the GERD thing, I'd like you to explore that for us. How heavily affected is the health infrastructure in this country because of the problems that we have with power generation?
Well, I'll see this in two ways, internally and externally, as far as the health sector is concerned. Internally, while doing all those hectic things, operation procedures and so on and so forth, all of a sudden you will be surprised by power blackouts. Imagine in the middle of surgery when things go black. That is so frustrating. And then what do? You'll run your generator, okay? Your generator will be working and should also have a maintenance schedule, all right? And you don't have, most probably, you don't put a standby generator for your generator. Most probably you depend on the national grid that power will be there that day when you service your generator. Imagine, in that day, we will not be able to do any kind of surgeries or procedures that involves a power supply. Because what if, while you are servicing your generator that day, power goes out? We'll be killing someone. So for that matter, we're very much cautious when we do repairs in the generators at our hospital and so on, okay? So this is what you feel internally. Let's go out of the premises of the health institution and see how it impacts our quality service and the lives of our customers from other suppliers. Okay, now here is the oxygen plant that supplies oxygen to these hospitals all over, I can say, the nation. All right. Now, if the power goes out for 15 minutes, 15 minutes, the whole plant will be shut down, and to restart that, to produce again an oxygen, a liter of an oxygen, it will take us another 2-3 hours. A 15-minute blackout. Imagine, after waiting for 3 hours while you start pumping the oxygen, and again, snap, it will go out. So,
and that happens quite often, right?
Very much so. Dr. Farah, I can give you the data that we've been collecting for the last 6 months. How many times in a day that we got power interruption? And meaning a 15 minutes power interruption will shut our total production. And then we have to wait 2 to 3 hours, as I told you, okay? Now, if we have 3 incidents in a day, we'll be losing 9 hours in 24 hours. So one shift is gone, one shift production. That means we are impacting the quality of the hospital service, the clinic service, even the patient that are waiting for our oxygen in their bed at home are also suffering. So I see it in these 2 ways. One, directly, what impact is having that we're seeing in the institutions we run, and then our suppliers and everything. So it is really, really stressful when you are out of power while you are running a healthcare institution.
Interesting. And I understand, as you are the vice president of the Addis Ababa Private Health Sector Facility Employers, you are better placed to talk about this, I guess. And so is this something that everybody shares in your association here in Addis Ababa?
Oh, I'll take you beyond that. We do have Ethiopian Healthcare Federation, which is an umbrella federation for the whole country when it comes to the health sector, especially the private health sector. It is felt everywhere from north to south, from east to west. It's not only the hospitals that were feeling this impact, it is the clinics, the pharmacies, and so on. Imagine, in the middle of the night, a pharmacy guy might have stocked his pharmaceutical items, supplies, in his fridge, and he's gone home because he's not working 24 hours. Okay? Then there is a power interruption. Do you think there will be somebody who will come to the pharmacy and start the engine in the middle of the night? No, no. So if the power is out for about like 12, 13, even a day, imagine all those stocks in the refrigerator will be compromised when it comes to the quality and the efficacy of the medication. So it is felt from a one-man show healthcare center to a mega or referral hospitals in the nation. And this is very, very frustrating, I'll tell you this.
So that's why we have the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam in part, right?
That's right.
And that's why you are part of the support group, correct? You are personally affected as a business person as much as you are as a citizen. Is that correct?
That's right. We're being blamed for compromised quality service in our hospital, in our oxygen plants, and so on and so forth because of this power interruption. So I made it a point that I have to go and do something so that fellows like me who are suffering should at least be heard about the thing, and we will air our frustration. We will work towards the last space of the GERD and make ourselves, visible to the whole world and to our regions and everything. So that's why I joined the the club.
The club, exactly. So you are telling this, the Egyptians and the Sudanese and so on, that there is a big power supplying institution coming up very soon that you would be tapping into. This is not just for Ethiopia, right? I mean, this is also for the sub-region.
Right. In fact, at Tafara, I don't know if you know this, we have now established the Confederation of IGAD employers, apart from what we have in the healthcare sector. It is called CIE, Confederation of IGAD Employers, where I am the Secretary General of that too. And what we're doing there is we are becoming the voice of the region as far as employers are concerned. It could be a healthcare employer, it could be a manufacturer, it could be a supplier, trader, or something. So in that platform, we had our first annual general meeting of the board last July 8th and 9th. And in that, we had this type of kind of networking. And in that, our question is, why don't we work together toward this Renaissance Dam that will be supplying power, not only for Ethiopia, but starting from all the way from South Egypt to all the way down to Tanzania, Rwanda, and Burundi. And the discussion was, of course, not formal, but everybody agreed that it will be helping us employers. We're not concerned about the political issue, but if you are concerned about the economic development, this is a bonanza for the whole region. if not for most part of Africa. So the thing is, because we are employers, we're trying to produce and be productive and efficient in what we're doing. For this, the major input next to the raw material is a power supply. And if we are guaranteed to get a power supply, no matter where it's coming from, as long as it is guaranteed and sustaining my business, why should I be caring whether it is coming from Djibouti or from Kenya? So vice versa. And also the Kenyan and the Sudanese and maybe the Egyptian and the other neighboring countries' employers are thinking the same way. I mean, the thing is that as long as I can get a supply of power that will sustain my production and everything, nobody should be caring where it is coming from. So this is what the agreement we've reached, although it is unofficial and it is between peer and peer.
Oh, it's interesting. And I know that in this East African Healthcare Federation conference that you're having today and tomorrow, I know that this is exclusively on technology and digitalization and all those things. But do you somehow talk about? Are you planning to talk about how power would be of significance in this regard? And hence, of course, the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam. Is there that kind of awareness within that federation that you're partly heading?
Definitely. In fact, this afternoon there will be a session on the challenge of mitigating this thing. And one of the things that I would like to raise is, because of the power interruption that we are facing in Ethiopia, most of our challenge are getting from level 1 to level 2 and level 3. So this is what I'm gonna raise as an issue in how to cope up with it. So in fact, I would like to let them know that no matter what, it is a life and days kind of thing for us in the health sector. And so by having this Renaissance Dam completed, they will be also getting the benefits, just like as Ethiopians in their challenges of sustainable power from Ethiopia. So therefore, definitely I'll be discussing this thing. I'll be raising this issue.
Well, good luck with that, and thank you very, very much, Dawit Moges, for joining me on this edition of Meet ETV. It was really a pleasure having you here.
Thank you for having me here.